Boom, we're back in the room.
We are.
Boom, boom, boom. Back in the room. Season 2. Here we are. Episode 1.
It's been an interesting season.
Had a bit of a lull, haven't we? Because we've had a lull. I usually say because we haven't had anything to do, but to be fair, we've been off our feet.
Yeah.
We haven't really had time to sit down and just go over things and sit down and do an episode for this podcast, as we. But welcome anyway, season 2.
Yes,
the
welcome,
wedding
people.
photographer's journey with me, Darren,
And me, Cara.
the dynamic duo, or wedding photographer.
And wedding photographer assistant.
Well, you shouldn't say that anymore because you're more than an assistant now, aren't you? See, that's something that's has evolved over the year. You've managed to upskill yourself to quite a decent photographer.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, God, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You've had that time to work, haven't you?
Yeah. Not enough weddings to practice.
No, but that's probably been better in a way because you've kind of had to, like I did when I first started, you've practiced by doing anything and everything.
Yeah, true.
And we've had little jobs here and there that you tend to just utilise as an opportunity to take photos.
Yeah.
And
Say, what settings do I use, love?
As a guide, but then you...
Yeah, but I know. But the more you show me, the more I understand.
Yeah, exactly, the more it makes sense.
Yeah.
So, if anything, out of this year of not doing a lot, it's benefited our own business in a way because, as I say, you've upskilled yourself and you're pretty much a competent photographer.
Yeah,
You've got more of an eye for detail than I have.
Well, that comes from being a female.
Well,
I
maybe
reckon.
that's probably a lot of truth in that.
Yeah.
A lot of male photographers out there will probably poo-poo that, but naturally,
Well,
you're quite a creative person in yourself anyway.
Yeah.
And you see things with quite an arty eye because you was a bit of a creative in your younger years, weren't you? So that's something you've got in you. I'm more of a it's in your face, so you deal with it kind of photographer. I deal with the action and the what's happening on the day, and I'll go searching for people that are doing things, people that might do things.
Yeah, the more obvious way.
Yeah.
You're more of an obvious
Exactly.
observer, whereas I'm a little bit more, what can I find?
What can I find? So it's great for me because on the day, I tend to have a habit to maybe not forget, but just I don't prioritise the details. By that I mean, we don't tend to do things like dresses on trees or in doorways.
No.
I mean, I have done that to start with because I always thought that was
It's what you see, isn't it?
Yes, exactly, because it's what you see.
So you think you've got to imitate what you see.
But it never quite sat well and it didn't work. But as I say, I tend to overlook those things, and you're more, you'll get the rings if you like, and you'll put them not in a silly scene, but you'll just make something happen.
Yeah,
if
just
the client has said, because a few of them have said that there's the rings, and they are presuming that we want the rings to go and do something with.
If they initiate that, then that's fair enough, I think. Yeah. But it's not something we will just run away with the rings.
But even that, if they haven't been handed to you, and the dress hasn't been handed to us, we won't go and remove it and go into another room or around the venue somewhere to get those shots. You'll deal with it in an arty way in that room.
Well, it just looks so much better when it's in situ.
It's all natural, isn't it?
Part of the scene.
Exactly.
Because that's what it is.
But I say you're quite good at doing that sort of thing now. Very often in the earlier days you were sort of making sure I had those shots, and I'd be saying, oh, bloody hell.
Yeah.
I've been so focused on people and what's happening and just the little detail shots.
So now I can just get on with it.
Yeah, exactly, and it works. So well done, you.
And are we going to talk about the last wedding we did now, or?
Well, as I say, because we haven't done anything productive for such a long time. I have got a little list of things we've done, literally in the last month. I mean, it's been quite busy for us, which is nice. I don't want this podcast to be all about, oh, look at how great we are. This is what we've done. But it's just to continue with what this podcast was mainly to be about, that we do a wedding and we'll talk about the experience of what we've had and the difficulties and the good things and the bad things, and just cast our opinions on what was presented to us. But I say this year it's gone on with a lot of hope, hasn't it, with people?
Yeah, I think it's before we started this now.
Is your belly rumbling?
Yeah, it's my belly.
I hope Mike didn't pick that up.
A year ago, we were still in the first lockdown, weren't we, a year ago today? And here we are, still waiting to come properly out
crazy,
of
isn't it?
lockdown 3.
Yeah, we're already June 20th today.
If we'd have thought this time last year that a year's time we'd still be...
Well, can you remember where we were a year ago?
Experience difficulties.
What event was sort of happening exactly a year ago this week?
Oh yeah, because it popped up on my timeline. The BLM,
the Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, the protest
movements were in force, and we had a local
protest.
Protest wasn't really a protest,
Well,
was it? But it was more of a highlighting the topic of the
showing
time, wasn't
solidarity
it?
sort of march.
Yeah, we went down and photographed that, but that was a year ago. Now that does seem a long time ago.
It does seem a long time ago, actually, a really long time ago.
And yet before then, whatever happened before then doesn't seem a year ago.
No.
But anyway, yeah, that was a year ago, and that's when we're still in a quiet, unofficial, normal time.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Normal
Does that sound
time?
right? Well, no, it's not normal. There's no normality still, is there?
There's no normality.
There's more restrictions still in place than we would like.
And everybody was hopeful that on the 21st it's tomorrow, isn't it? The 21st is tomorrow.
That's
that we would be coming out of lockdown. It was going to be Freedom Day, but of course that's
Day.
That's been put back a few weeks now.
It was inevitable, really, though, wasn't it?
I think so.
And even what's the new date? July the 19th, isn't it?
19th.
Which is a Monday. Even then, is it going to be, what was it, Terminus Day?
Terminus Day, apparently.
They
Boris
make
is
films,
calling
shouldn't
it.
they? Make films out of it. That's in the future.
Oh, what I thought was weird was, remember where you last heard that word, terminus? We were big fans of going back a couple of years of this particular programme, and there was a place called Terminus.
Oh, yes, that was that stabbing the zombies film. What's that called? Walking with the Dead or something? Walking Dead.
Yeah, Walking Dead.
That's right.
They found
a
Terminus,
compound,
didn't they?
They were looking for Terminus, and
it was supposed to be a safe place.
But it turned out to be anything but.
Cannibalism and all sorts. So it's a bit sort of ominous, to say the least.
Yeah, we won't go down that road. We won't go down that rabbit hole. Not on this show.
You know what I'm like.
That's another podcast on another platform somewhere. But no, you're right. And there we are. We're in June. We're looking into July. We've been fortunate enough that we have had a few little weddings. And a couple of couples we've done, they've just wanted to get married.
Yeah.
And it has been the minimal, isn't it? Minimal. I.e. themselves, parents, and that's it.
Yeah.
Nothing
more
more than
all
that.
the necessities.
The necessities.
Really, isn't it, to
the
get
white
married.
dress, the nice suits, bit of bridal prep, if you like.
Yeah.
The ceremony, exchanging the rings. No signing in the register anymore.
No.
So that's nice to get back to. There's no signing, although there is still the expected staged signing in the register shot.
I imagine that will have
which I kind of do because it's an expectation, but it's not something
It's not pretty.
It's so. Well. It's such a. I can understand it when they did have a pen and they just signed the register because they had actually signed the register, so they were still in that mode, and you could pick up a picture or two. And when they said to take the official one, it was almost a case of, but you'll do it, don't you?
Yeah.
But now they're not actually signing anything. It's all been done beforehand, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm hoping that'll just
and then they're set down
phase
and
out.
You've got to get, and they even stuck a pen in the chap's hand.
Which is daft.
It was silly, wasn't it? And even they felt a bit, this is
stupid because we haven't signed anything. We don't need to sign anything anymore.
But as you say, going forward, I wonder weddings of the future where they will just do away with that. It's all been done. Do the rings and that's it. Turn away and walk up the aisle.
Yeah,
done.
Yeah,
that's kind of what it should be, isn't it? I think. But we did have it has been nice to meet couples again, isn't it? That was the main point when. Were we back in May? Was it when we were able to then go back out and meet people?
Probably.
In a social sort of setting, you could go outside and meet because there was a stage you couldn't meet up with more than two, could you? So it meant that me and you couldn't go and meet a couple.
That's true.
Because there's too many people, even if it was outside.
Yeah, that was in May.
But we've been able to meet couples now, haven't we? And that's nice and get our backlog of pre-wedding shoots sort of not done, but in the process of getting them done.
Booked in to be done.
Yeah, getting them booked in. So we have had a little bit going on, which has been right nice.
Very nice.
Right nice. So second week in May, we had our first wedding for 8 months. 8 months?
It was September, wasn't it?
I mean a proper first wedding. We went to the venue and took some pictures of the bride getting ready with it was the two parents, wasn't it? The mother of the bride and the mother of the groom.
Yeah.
Having their hair and makeup done. And it was nice because it was a local venue to us and we were able to go down there, get a few environmental shots. Because it was quiet and because there was no pressure, it meant that you could do a bit more yourself as well.
Yeah, that was nice.
Which was really nice. We could separate in that. And it was a case of what you would do normally. Although there wasn't many of them, it meant it was shorter. We still had spent a lot of time in the bridal prep suite, didn't we?
Yeah,
we kind of took turns as well, doing little things, and it was quite nice just to be back back in the game.
The nice thing about that was the first time I was left alone with the bride when she was getting into a dress. So
yeah, because that's not something we usually do with a camera, is it? Because you're there monitoring the scene.
Yeah.
And you get quite a good relationship at that stage, don't you? So they let you
could actually take pictures
hang about with their permission.
Yes, of course.
And you're quite discreet.
Oh yeah, nothing too.
You don't. Nobody would take any revealing. I know some brides, they don't care. I've had brides that they'd stand there in their pants and bra and wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Not that I have done, because that's not what I'd like to do. But if I was asked, I would. But you're in that position now, and you can take the pictures
if they show wish. Show wish. Yeah, show wish. If they show wish. So wish.
But no, yeah, and you did get some very nice pictures of just as she was like reaching for the dress and in her gown, fluffing the dress, prepping the dress before she actually took it off the hanger, and that's something we would not normally get.
No,
so that was quite nice, wasn't it? And then obviously there's that change over time, isn't there, where perhaps you might see a bit too much, but we're grown up enough not to take pictures of things that perhaps would make.
Well, might take pictures of them, but whether we end up having them as part of
that
gallery
exactly,
is another.
I mean, sometimes you
matter.
take pictures and you see a bit more than you want to, but you tend to not, for obvious reasons. But no, you took some nice shots, and obviously the process of her getting out the gown into the dress was done really, really quite tastefully and nicely. Yeah, it was very nice. So it was something different we've got from that wedding that we haven't had on previous weddings,
and something we can move forward with.
Yeah, I hope that does continue. But it was nice to have that little bit of freedom, because the venue was pretty much empty anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it was free reign, wasn't it? Because there's no actual
staff
people staying there.
I think the staff were quite keen and happy to be.
There's more staff than
promoting.
people.
There was, wasn't there? Sort of having and hosting people again.
Yeah.
Of course, it was a mask-worn set up again, wasn't it? Except for obviously the bridal suite. I mean, the vendors wore masks, didn't they? As they're expected to.
Yeah.
Some of them had the visors on, which I suppose the visors must be much easier to work in when you're doing hair and makeup, that sort of thing.
God, yeah.
And obviously the hotel staff, the venue staff. But we were able to just move around freely, inside and outside. Obviously, follow the protocol, distance from anybody that you felt you needed to, or just to be respectful of people.
I think that's what it's come down to more now, isn't it? With the mask wearing and the not mask wearing, it's about respect rather than what it actually does and achieves.
That's right. Yeah, I won't say it's nonsense, but to my mind, it's unnecessary even at this stage. But I can understand if there's a rule set in place. If you come into this store, you have to wear a mask. Just if you want to get something from the store, just follow it, get your stuff and leave, and then take your mask off. I know I don't like wearing them, and I don't think anybody should be wearing them to that degree. But I can see why it's there, and I'll follow it.
Yeah. Just
to be nice about it. But when you're at a venue, there's no point saying, I'm not wearing a mask, I don't need to, I don't want to, because what's the point?
No,
what's the point in rocking the boat on a day that's not yours?
That's right.
We're at work, aren't we? And we're professionals, and we'll do what we're told on somebody else's patch, won't we?
You don't wear a mask when you're shooting.
No, that's another thing I was going to mention, actually, because and a lot of photographers that have been shooting weddings, they'll
battle with it, they'll struggle with it.
No, they'll appreciate what I'm saying, is that if you're wearing a mask and then you put your camera to look through the viewfinder to shoot, as you breathe, what you expel doesn't it gets stuck in the mask, and it has a tendency to go upwards towards your eyes. Now when it does that, it just fogs everything up.
Yeah.
And I remember doing that wedding we had last September, where we had to wear a mask in that town hall wedding. I was in a right pickle.
Yeah.
Because everything was fogged up, and I was more conscious of keeping my face covered than I was of taking photos. But that process meant my photos were just I was guessing to a certain degree. I was having to wipe the viewfinder, hold my breath, get a few shots and that, and it was a bit of a battle. As it turned out, okay. But on the back of that experience, I didn't want to be battling with that again.
No.
So I read somewhere, and it was on the .gov UK. What's the word? Recommendations. Yeah. As I was reading through it, there is a point it does say about wearing a mask. And if it does interfere with your working or your operating work machinery, work tools, whatever, you are allowed to remove them for that duration.
Would that have been there back last September?
I don't know. I don't remember seeing it, and I don't remember.
Because that would have been really helpful.
Yeah, exactly. But back to this wedding, when it got to shooting the actual inside the ceremony room, I did actually drop my mask. As I held the camera up to my face, I put my mask over my chin so that I could breathe freely. Now, I was not near anybody. I was over 2 metres from anybody, probably more over 5 metres. Everybody was wearing a mask except for the bride and the groom.
And the registrar.
He did have a visor on. He didn't wear a mask, but he had a visor on.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, so he could speak, but still, obviously, he had that level of protection that he decided he needed. But I wasn't speaking. I wasn't shouting, I wasn't singing, you know what I mean?
No,
I wasn't expelling high pressure airwaves that would send droplets to the other side of the room.
Yeah.
So it was quite discreet, but that was the answer to it. The photos, using the camera, no lens fogging up, and nice photos at the end of it.
Yeah.
So I will take that with me wherever we go, that it does say that if it is causing and affecting you in a working situation, you are able to remove your mask for that duration.
Do you think Terminus Day will see masks being ditched?
I don't know for sure. I think they'll possibly the recommendation. If you feel comfortable, keep your mask on. I reckon we'll be like China. We're always like looking at those on the news thinking, well, they all wear masks. And you see them walking around London in masks just to keep their, I suppose it's a pollutants away from there.
Pollution,
But now I think in this country we might well just see it'll just be standard people around. They will wear masks around for everyday sort of
You see
journeys.
people wearing masks in the streets so now, and I just Ludlow is a tiny little market town. It's no problem with pollution. I just don't see
it is
why
daft,
they would do that.
and it's daft that people do wear masks in the streets for whatever reason. If you want to do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
But when they start making you feel like you're a scab because you haven't got a mask on, I just feel like saying, no, what's the deal here? You're outside, you're walking, you're talking to people next to you, you're not shouting and singing across the street, are you? You're not jumping on top of someone and screaming in their ear hole. You know, we had one old boy, he walks up the street, he's seen quite regularly, he's got his shopping bags with his mask on, and he's just not mumbling, he's like talking and telling everyone off for not keeping their distance as he's walking past.
He probably has got mental health issues.
Well,
so.
maybe so. But that's the other thing. You have to just make allowances.
I suppose that's what, as I said before, it's about respecting each other, and having enough respect to perhaps sidestep them and make them feel more comfortable. If that's what it takes. It's
like people driving wearing a mask and they're the only one in the car.
I know. That's very odd.
Open the window, let the air in if you like. Keep it ventilated.
I just can't wait to take mine off when I've got it on the seat.
But it does make you think that over this last year or so, what pictures people have built up in their minds of what's happening.
And everybody's an individual and they've dealt with it in an individual way, I suppose. Yeah, so we can't be in someone else's head, can we?
But when it comes back to weddings, if a venue's got something in place, adhere to it. There's no point in trying to rock the boat and say, I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that. I don't need to do this. I don't need to do that.
But do you think in 4 weeks' time that will go? At weddings, specifically at weddings, do you think we're going to see the back of mask wearing?
I think we'll be told we don't have to anymore. Yeah. But I do also still believe people, for whatever reason, will decide they still will. Maybe that might take a year or two for that to sort of wear off.
Because in those guidelines you've read to me recently, what did they say about? Because that's talking about within the next 4 weeks, not after that, isn't it? It's just specific to the next 4 weeks.
I can't remember what that was. It was to do with the UK Weddings Task Force, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was a frequent Willy.
Frequent Willy.
Frequent Willy.
Frequent Willy.
Frequent Willy.
Frequent Willy.
Is that a new film?
I'm going to say, get your teeth in.
I can't get my teeth in for crying out loud. I've usually got a drink with me at this stage, but
just a cup of tea.
I haven't even got that excuse today. Frequently asked questions. It's basically for weddings from the 21st of June, which obviously didn't happen, did it?
No.
No, just rewind that. It did happen. What didn't happen was it was totally lifted. So from the 21st, there were still restrictions and more questions that were being asked.
So that's
so
sort
the
of filling
task
in
force and the government and all that obviously sat down and had meetings and came up with certain. I can read through these because it is quite helpful to sort of see how things stand at the moment.
I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it's very useful. I mean, this task force weddings, they have been banging on for so long about so many things. A lot of it I haven't really agreed with, because when it has been at its highest level of I'm crap with words.
Transmittability?
When the COVID was its highest level, basically.
Yes.
They were still pushing for weddings to go ahead it was all this, what about weddings? Let's do weddings. There's no reason why we can't do weddings. But you're like saying, well, there is reasons why you can't do weddings.
Well, the only reason that's changed is because of the vaccinations.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's still out there.
Yes, exactly, and I understand that. But before then, nothing was in place.
Yeah.
But people were so hell-bent, weddings should still go ahead when nothing was going ahead. But all that aside, obviously they've worked hard behind the scenes just to get information from the government to the industry, to people like us and other suppliers that want little questions asked.
This isn't anything to do what about weddings, is it? This task force.
I can't remember the people that were involved, the names. I'll read through it quickly with you. It just does help. So it talks about guests and social distancing measures. How many people can I have at my wedding? From 21st of June 21, the number of people allowed to attend your wedding will no longer be capped at 30. It will be determined upon the socially distanced capacity of the COVID secure venue.
Yeah.
So any venue is going to have to do a risk assessment for their venue, aren't they?
Yeah.
Make sure it's COVID secure, so it'll be all those steps like sanitising and screens and whatnot in place. And then that will determine how many guests can be at that venue and be socially distanced satisfactorily.
Yeah.
Now, socially distanced is now, it's
1 metre.
It's been said as being 2 metres, but it's now 1 metre plus extra precautions. Extra precautions we're not sure of.
Masks.
Not facing people, masks. I don't know, but yeah, with other precautions, sitting there with a sanitizer thing in your hand maybe, but you can reduce the distance to 1 metre, which means more space is available for more people, which at the end of the day you want to get as many people in as possible, don't you, to your venue,
if that's your thing. Yeah.
So it says if your wedding is outside, it's in a structure in a private garden, then the capacity is based on social distancing at 1 metre plus mitigation, so as we just said, but that's talking about being outside, which I would have thought if there's a big space, you could get a lot of people in with just 1 metre either side of them all, can't you?
Yeah.
So
surely being outside is a mitigation in itself.
Well, it seems to me that being outside is the favoured way to do a wedding at the moment.
That makes sense, obviously, because you've got fresh air all around you.
So it talks about who's included in the capacity. So it's guests and children of all ages, because there were one stage where kids under a certain age didn't count, although they took up space.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. The venue staff, suppliers, they're all currently included in the attendance, aren't they? But they do say that it comes down to the venue itself and the individuals working there, so they can take into consideration who's there and what risk assessment they're going to have to allow all those people to be there.
Yeah.
Socially distance is it's not a legal requirement to socially distance themselves, but the risk assessment must conclude that there is space to do so if required, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
Because now it's saying that the venue, if you turn up for a wedding at a venue, it's down to you. If you decide I don't want to socially distance, that's your decision.
Yeah.
However, the venue, they have to cover their own backs by saying, well, there is space here to allow all these people to socially distance individually if they needed to. But that's only fair on the venue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because how could a venue then be done and fined X amount of pounds?
Well, that's right. They can't stop people not.
That's right.
Adhering to the social distance.
So I kind of think it's the right thing to say, and it does come back on the individual, doesn't it? It's up to you to protect yourself and to take measures to keep yourself from harm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I have additional evening guests? Yes, you can. It depends on the venue and their risk assessment again, how many guests you can have in the day compared to its maximum capacity. So if it's full to capacity of the day, you can't have any evening guests.
This evening guesting separate in these few weeks in between 21st and the 19th of July. Is there really going to be any need to have extra evening guests anyway? Because what they're going to be doing?
I say, yeah, come up for a bit of evening food and a pint.
Yeah.
And say, hello, there's your card.
Yeah.
Bye.
People come to the evening do for a party.
To the do, exactly.
For a party.
Yeah. But if it's outside and there's lots of space and the venue allows it, you could have another 50 people turn up, couldn't you?
When you say outside, that does include an open-sided marquee, doesn't it?
Exactly. And I think it goes on to saying there that any open outside structure, so it's a teepee or a marquee or anything that might be purposely built, but it has to be open 50% of its structure, isn't it? So also half of it open to air, half of it closed to concealed with a roof and some walls.
To the elements.
But they could turn up, couldn't they, if you had the space?
Yes.
Bands can play, can't they?
Yeah.
And DJs can play,
but
they can't have a dance floor.
Yeah.
But they can play music and you can dance, but you can't dance on a specified floor or a specified area, can you?
Dance area.
And if you do dance, you've got to be distanced because you are, I know, sweating. There's more opportunity for you to perspire and send water droplets, vapour into the air. It's just being sensible again, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
but
if you're outside...
people aren't going to be sensible.
Of course they're not. This is a wedding. But this is the other side of it. When they were shouting out weddings should go ahead, they couldn't go ahead because we know that weddings, particularly the after wedding events, celebrations, it's like a nightclub. It's a disco, isn't it? It's a chance for revelry.
Let your hair down.
Hug, kiss, perspire, sweat, spit as you talk and shout and scream and sing. But now you can move outside.
No photo booths.
You can have photo booths.
Ow!
Can you?
No, surely not.
I don't know.
You're putting on different bits and bobs on your head and face. And...
Yeah, no, you can, but you have to. Yeah, it has to be. You have to offer the facilities to sanitize and clean.
So but people who've been drinking have got to sanitize the stuff they've been wearing.
But they won't.
It's not going to happen.
That's the whole thing. And that is the whole point, I suppose, with a lot of this is that it's still that protection without actually saying you can't do this because you all get drunk and it all goes out the window and people get ill and you spread it and then someone might die. You can't say that, but that's what it's alluding to, basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've been to enough weddings. We know what happens in the evening. So socially distance, additional guests in the evening, guests sitting at a table of 6, because that was the rule, wasn't it?
That's gone, isn't it?
Yeah, that's now gone. So the government has confirmed there's no requirement for guests to be seated at socially distanced tables of 6. The hospitality guidelines are for traditional hospitality functions, and weddings are being given a relaxation on this rule. So the guidelines will be updated to reflect. So I have read something somewhere that he's basically saying, as that is alluding to, tables of 6 are out the window. It's as many as you get on a table, which is like 8, 12 in it on a big function room table.
And that's inside as well as out.
Yeah. And one way they're going to combat no dance floor is to actually tables on the dance floor, aren't they?
Tables on the dance floor. That's a new concept.
But in that way, if tables on the dance floor...
Tables on the dance floor. You better not feel the groove, or something like that.
Yeah. Don't give up the day job. But if tables are located throughout and on what would be the dance floor...
Yeah.
And you're sat at that table...
Yeah.
And the DJ plays some music...
You can get on the table and dance.
And you're sat in your seat and then you dance. Technically,
you're dancing on the dance floor. Oh, yeah.
So you're breaking the law.
Yeah, and get arrested.
I'm just joking on that bit. Can my bridal party all get ready in the same room? Yes, as long as there is capacity for all members of the bridal party to socially distance, should they wish to. So again, it's coming back on the onus is on you.
Yeah.
If you wish to, you have the right to, and the venue has to provide that facility. So if there's a big bridal suite, 12 people maximum, and 13 people are in there, you can say it doesn't really matter. 15 people can come in, I don't care. But if one of those persons say, well, hang on a minute, I want to be able to socially distance correctly, you have to allow for that one person, don't you?
Yeah.
But you know it's not going to happen, is it?
No.
It's not going to happen.
No.
But the venue have done their job. Again, it's all about covering
their backs.
Covering their backs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Does a marquee count as outdoors? So for a structure to be considered outdoors, it must have 50% of its sides uncovered and must be a proper structure. So as we said before, it's just about being outside. Because you can, if we had the weather in this country and if you could predict the weather was going to be perfect, you could technically have all your tables outside, open air, no covering, couldn't you?
Yeah.
If you wanted to.
Yeah, good.
And a DJ playing with his speakers up, open air, no covering. Technically.
That'd be ideal, wouldn't it?
That's what I'm saying, that's all outdoors. Then technically you could all get up and move up to the end of the garden or whatever and have a boogie.
Yeah.
With your 2 metres distance, you know, because it wouldn't be a designated dance floor.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to, you could get around those sort of things.
As long as the weather was on your side.
Well, yeah, but in this country, who knows what's going to happen next, isn't it?
Yeah, quite.
So does food and drink have to be served? I thought this was interesting. Does food and drink have to be served at the table? Inside a COVID secure venue, all food and drink must be ordered and served at the table. If no alcohol is being served, then people can order at a counter or a bar, but all beverages and food must still be consumed at the table, even when outdoors in a COVID secure venue. So now they are saying you must drink at your table and eat at your table.
Mm-hmm.
If no alcohol is being served, so that basically means nothing on your table and no.
Well, they usually provide a bottle or two of wine,
yeah,
don't
but
they?
what,
So that's
if there's
not
no
the case.
waitress
You can go to
facility,
the-
where they go
right.
to the bar, get your drink and bring it to
Yeah.
you. If you have to manually go and get your own drink, you can go to a bar, order your drink, but you have to bring it and sit
You
down
can't drink it
to
at the
drink
bar.
it. You
That's
can't
what
drink
it's
at the bar.
saying,
You
yeah.
can't drink it walking. You have to drink and eat at the table, which it's quite a limitation, but I kind of understand it.
Do you want to say that a bit again? Because I sort of ruined it.
I don't know I forgot what I said. You have to eat and drink, particularly drinking. Let's get away with it. It's drinking, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's alcoholic
it's about
drinking.
yeah.
You can't drink unless you're sitting down at your table.
But why?
I don't really know. I don't know what the technicality and all
What's
that is.
what's the science behind that? I'd like to know what the science.
I think
is
it must just be
behind
the way people behave. It's just a behavioural thing, isn't it? And once people behave in a certain way, then restrictions and limitations do go out the window. And then it's not fair on others around them that want these things in place to then be on the receiving end of somebody stood by them having a few drinks with each other and just getting a bit rowdy, if you like.
It's about control, isn't it?
It's about self-control.
Yeah, because if you're stood at the bar drinking a drink, you could be behaving yourself, just nicely drinking a drink, and then you could have someone join you at the bar.
Yeah.
Someone you don't really know
Yeah.
very much, but they've had a lot more to drink than you.
Yeah.
And they might put their arm around
Yeah.
get in your face.
But then there's also others coming to buy drinks, isn't there?
Yeah.
So it becomes a busier place.
Yeah, well, but the rule of 6 at the tables is gone. So you're not going to be 2 metres from people either side of you. It doesn't matter how close they are.
But if you're at a
apparently.
table, you've only got 2 people either side of you, haven't
That's
you?
what I mean. So it's about control, because
Yeah,
that's controlled
yeah.
numbers then, isn't it?
I get it.
At the bar, there's a lot of people that could come up to you at the bar or buy you at the bar.
And also, you got to think of the staff working at the bar.
That's
If
probably
they've got
more
you
of the...
if you've got you
Yeah, that's
in
true.
front of them constantly, and they're serving others.
That's true. That's more probably
Because
more,
and
more of the
also,
risk.
if you allow that to happen, it's like, well, what else can you allow to happen that is similar to that?
You
And
have
then
to
you
draw
open
the
up-
line somewhere,
you know,
don't
exactly,
they?
you open up the can of worms.
Yeah.
So it's the same rule for everything, and that's the only way it can be controlled.
Yeah.
If you're looking to control
And it does help
anything.
to control it. That's true.
So we have to we don't like it, but we have to just respect it and respect other people, don't we?
Yeah. I don't like standing at the bar anyway. I never have done.
No, it's a bit of a pants piece.
Because you always get, well, I'm
Yeah.
little, and I always get
You're
sort of
little.
cajoled and
Oi,
pushed out the way, and I can never get served. Get ignored. So, yeah, table service suits me fine.
Can my guests use a food truck at the COVID secure venue?
What's
Or
a food trucks.
yeah, if you're bringing a
of
pizza
course,
truck or a
of
fish and
course.
chip bar or lorry or that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's like having food inside. Yes, you can, but you get your food and you have to go and sit at the table.
Which is what happens anyway.
But at a venue, it will be served by the table to the table by waiting staff. So again, it's all controlled, isn't it? So you don't have people all walking up and queuing for their
yeah,
fish
that
and
makes
chips and
sense.
pizzas
Yeah.
and chatting and you know what I mean. The things that would usually happen, and it's a
So
shame they
these
don't
food
happen.
carts have got to provide waitresses.
I think it more says that it doesn't really specify, but it's more, I suppose, the venue's waiting staff.
Well, no, if it's a DIY wedding, and you've got a food cart turning up, what do they do?
Don't know actually. You can still serve your food truck at the venue. So we're talking about venues, aren't we, at this time? This is to
okay.
do with venues. Maybe there's something later about
Maybe.
private facilities, weddings. Can I have a standing drinks reception? In a COVID secure venue, guests are able to stand up as long as they do not eat or drink while standing. All drinks should be consumed while seated.
So you can't have a stand-up reception. That's
No.
what it's saying.
You can stand up and do what you like, but you can't stand up and eat and drink.
So you
Eat
can't
or
have,
drink.
so you can't have a stand-up reception.
So you
then.
can't have canapes and
Oh yeah.
all that sort of
yeah.
thing. You have to.
That's true. You've got to be sat down
You
to
have to
be
go and sit down, don't you,
canapes.
at your table before any food is served or consumed, any drinks are consumed, anything along those lines.
Yeah.
There's a gang of walkers passing our house, they're all looking in at the window, looking at us. Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, I got distracted there. We live on a public footpath, don't we? It's quite rural, and
well, next door to it, not on it. They don't come through our house.
No, it's outside our front garden.
To live on one.
Well, those might well come in the house the way they were looking. Jeez.
Who are you?
So dancing and entertainment also. Can the couple have a first dance? Yes, you can have a first dance, but not on the dance floor. No, it doesn't say that. That was me making that up. Can my guests dance? Dancing is not illegal. So listen, you can dance. Michael Gove, the MP, has voiced a common sense approach to dancing. All right? Unfortunately, at a wedding and where alcohol has been consumed, common sense disappears. It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that's why there are...
That's part of it, isn't it? Of
course it is, yeah.
Losing your common
Dance
sense.
floors are banned. So dancing's not illegal, right?
I should hope not.
But dance floors are banned.
Yeah.
Let's get that in your head. So there can be no specific area for dancing. These areas are to be repurposed for extra seating, as we said earlier.
Yeah.
That they put tables and chairs on the dance floor. You can have a boogie in your seat. So technically, you're dancing on the dance floor. That's banned.
You've already said this.
I know, it just tickled me. All right.
You don't want to sing again, do you?
I don't sing, you sing. Dancing indoors would require face coverings to be worn. But dance floors are banned. There has to be a common sense approach. There's no specific area for dancing, but if you're dancing indoors, you have to wear a face covering. I'll leave that with you.
I find that a bit confusing.
He's quite confusing.
So you can dance anywhere as long as you're wearing a face covering.
Yeah, but you can't dance but there is no dance floor.
No, but you can't just dance randomly wherever you are unless you're wearing a face covering. Is that what they're saying? You've got to wear a face covering. Oh, indoors.
That's indoors, isn't it? Yeah,
they're going to make for great photos.
Dancing indoors would require face coverings to be worn. So you can you can dance at the back of the room against the wall in a line of 1 metre plus because you've got a face mask on, haven't you?
It doesn't the face mask what's the word? Negate.
No, because the face mask is that 1 plus mitigation, isn't it?
Yeah,
1 metre plus. The mitigation is that you've got a face mask on.
Yeah.
So if you're dancing, it says here you've got to wear a face mask. So if you go to the back of the room and you're all going in a line, you've all got your face mask on, so you have to stand 1 metre apart in a line, or 2 or 3 lines, as long as they're 1 metre either way,
fun.
and have a dance, all facing the same way, I expect, because that has to mitigate the 1 metre plus, doesn't it? So you all have to face away from each other.
But you don't have to wear a mask if you're facing away from each other and you're 1 metre plus.
Yes, it says.
No, because
dance floors are banned. Dancing indoors would require face coverings to be worn.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter where you are. If you're having a boogie indoors, up the back of the room, you have to wear a face mask.
Would you really bother? Would you bother?
You wouldn't. You just wouldn't.
It sort of takes away the fun a little bit, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you have a band and a DJ? Yes, absolutely.
But you can't
Can
dance.
I have a photo booth? Yes.
Oh.
You can have a photo booth, but it's advised you also have hand sanitizer to use before and after. It's advised that you also have. So you can have a photo booth and they can really just operate as normal. And in a photo booth, you ain't going to go in with a face mask on.
So you can have a dance in
it's
a photo booth.
What, 2-man dance?
Yeah. At least you don't have to wear a face mask.
But that one, this is kind of where all the cracks appear, because you think, well, hang on a minute. As you said, photo booth, lots of people touching the same appliances,
a very
the same
small
things.
area usually.
You're not saying if you run a photo booth you can use it, but you must sanitise every item used constantly.
Yeah.
Do that. You're saying it's advised you also have some hand sanitizer to use before and after. But I suppose if you're using it before and you're having your thing done and then you're putting them back and you're sanitising after, the next person comes along, sanitises. I can see that working.
Yeah.
But when they go behind the screen and close the curtain, God knows what happens.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Quite.
So that's the...
They've obviously thought about it, so I don't know.
They have thought about it. It's obvious that they've tried to make so many allowances on the back of so much cage rattling being done.
True.
Because when this all kicked off further, when they were allowing a certain number of people into football stadiums or sports stadiums to watch football and other sports.
You only know the football, don't you? I know football.
But it's football stadiums in this country, isn't it? So you've got a £50,000, £60,000 pound. That's a footballer's daily salary.
Yeah.
40, 50, 60,000 seater stadium. And they were letting, was it 10% in? So between 3 to 6,000 fans in.
Yeah.
In that size of venue, you can have so much distance between each individual, can't you?
Yeah.
That's why that was working, and it's all controlled, isn't it? And it's all what are they, like caretaker, security, stewards all in place, and you have to follow the rules or you have to leave. The wedding industry,
And it's just for a couple of hours.
that's a really good point. It's just for a couple of hours, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the people in the wedding industry, they wanted parity with that, and it's like, well, it's a different industry. You can't have a venue.
Different environment.
You can't have a venue of 1,000 people, allow 300 people in to carry on with the event as normality would expect, because you just couldn't do it as a wedding. You've got all those people coming to close contact, going home, spreading this virus if it's there to be spread in the ways that they say it is.
Yeah.
But that's why it was handled differently. But we are just hoping that things are going to get back to normal.
Well, with the vaccine being rolled out as it is, everybody taking it up, it should be.
It's got to be,
going that way.
It is the way forward. Whatever you think about the vaccine, it is the way forward. And I mean, even in our situation, I'm not fully vaccinated, but I do have the
Capacity?
no. What are those tests I got?
Oh, the lateral flow test.
Lateral flow. So I got the lateral flow test. So if
You are going to get vaccinated, though, aren't you?
well, when the time allows. At the moment, I won't, because I'm pissed off because my local health authority won't let me have a fucking vaccine. Excuse my French. A vaccine on my own doorstep. I have to travel 20, 30 miles. I haven't got the time for that.
That's because you never got it on time.
I haven't. Well, I've been busy.
I know you've been busy.
This is the whole point.
Yeah, I
And
know.
after you had your first jab and how ill you were for that few days, I can't afford to have that at this time.
No,
I can't afford to be ill.
you can now.
Well, I don't know. It all depends on what comes in as a whole thing, isn't it? But yeah, once everybody is vaccinated and the death rates are, I mean, the death rates are quite low now anyway.
Yeah.
They're lower than, well, they're as low as the death rates of any other year since records began. You know, people are dying in the same numbers for various reasons.
Yeah.
At the moment, there's no other reason people are dying except for COVID related, which I think is quite clever, but that's another story for another day. So we had that Fishmore wedding,
Yes.
Fishmore Hall, local to us in Ludlow.
Yeah.
We spent 6 hours there, didn't we?
Was it 6 hours?
We got there for 10 and we were done by 4.
Yeah.
We didn't need to be there that long, but we were quite enjoying the day, weren't we?
Yeah, it was nice to be back.
We took a bit of time out. We got ourselves a bit of dinner as well, didn't we? In the quieter time. And there was a few. They were serving afternoon tea outside, weren't they? To people that went to come in anyway.
That's right, they were. Yeah.
And we saw a few. Well, I saw a couple of old friends and that, so that was quite nice. But it was a good sunny day. It was our first wedding for a long time. It all went pretty well. To be fair, it does prove that venues can deal with things and put things in place to cater for what they need to.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't it? Wasn't it?
Doesn't it?
But it was good.
It
Enjoy
was
that.
good.
You enjoyed it.
I did enjoy
And
it.
the photos were good. And we
Yeah.
got the photos off within a couple of weeks, didn't we? Because
Yeah.
didn't have a lot of work on that stage. USB, Bish Bash Bosh. There you go. Thank you very much. Yay!
Yay!
First wedding for 8 months.
Yeah.
But on the back of that, it just proves that if you really want things to happen, things will happen. That's all I can say.
What, you mean as a couple?
As a couple and as us as a business.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
That's a fair point you just made there, as a couple, making things happen. If you are a couple in the last year or so and you wanted to get married, there's been more time available to you to get married than there hasn't been.
Oh,
hasn't
God,
there?
yeah.
I know it's been limited, but
There's only a few months,
people,
wasn't there?
yeah,
Last
people are still,
first
if you
lockdown.
need to get married, you will get married. If being married for those reasons that marriage is required, you can get married. And it does irritate me, and it always has done, that on a lot of these wedding pages and photography wedding pages, the main issue has been couples have been so perplexed why they can't get married and they can't have their, and they've had to cancel. And I'm like, well, you can get married. You can get married. We've done weddings where people have got married.
Yeah.
And a few of them are having to do next year, aren't they?
Yeah.
Some have just had a small wedding,
My voice is
job
gone.
done. Yeah, well, it's
My voice is gone.
But it's a fair point you made that getting married is still, it's there, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's all depending what is your reason for getting married? Getting married or for having a do?
Yeah.
If you want to do, you've got to rearrange, replan, and you all take on all that stress and strain. These poor couples have had to cancel their wedding. It's just a party they've had to cancel.
It is a party. And obviously, if people are coming from abroad and things like that.
Exactly. But that's all just based on, they want, and I kind of get it in a way, that they want their dream day. Having a party at the end of it with other guests arriving that weren't part of the day guest list are there as well, work colleagues, best friends, whatever you want.
Yeah.
They're there and that's your dream day. But if that's solely what you need to get married, I just think it's harder. it's harder. You've made hard work on yourself, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
because
I just don't know why more people
aren't just
getting married and then having a party later.
And this is something that we have noticed this. Couples are kind of realising, to hell with the traditional way of doing things. This last year has shown couples, more and more couples, that they can now do things that they want.
I hope so.
There's only one reason.
It's daft.
The wedding day, there's only one legality, isn't there?
Yeah.
And they are your vows.
Yeah.
Not even, you didn't have to put a ring on. Some people don't wear rings.
You'd have to sign the register now.
No, exactly. So that's the only legality you need. So weddings, as I say, couples are realising, I can do what I like.
You don't have to wear wedding rings, you know.
No, I just said you don't even have to put a wedding ring on.
No.
You just have to. It's your vows, because they are the traditional. That's the legal
yes,
side
the legal
of a
side of it. Yeah.
Repeat after me.
Yeah.
You are saying
in front of witnesses.
Exactly. That you've agreed to that.
Yeah.
It's a contract wedding at the end of the day, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's a legal.
It's a legal contract.
Legal contract. So that's why you have to go through that process. But so many couples now are realising they can do the little bit, the legal bit. That doesn't really mean a lot to anybody else, does it?
No, of course not.
You can do that, say that, sign the contract if you like, and be done with it. And then a week later, a few days later, a year later, you can have a big wedding somewhere that you've chosen.
Yeah.
A field, a garden, somewhere, a football stadium, as I've seen. You can go somewhere, have a celebrant, and have a good day.
Yeah.
And I kind of think that the wedding industry, it's been a beast for so many years. A big financial beast, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I just feel it's kind of, there are little cracks appearing, there's little avenues that couples are now seeing a way to do, and they're knowing more and more that they can do what they want to do.
And
they don't have to follow this tradition. They don't have to follow this conveyor belt that's how weddings are done.
Yeah.
You have to get married, do this, do that, buy this, buy that, wear this, wear that. You don't have to.
No more donut rings. Yay.
You don't have to, exactly.
Donut rings.
Don't have a cake.
Donut walls.
Donut walls. You don't even have to have a cake.
Of course
It's
not.
tradition, but you don't have to have it.
No.
We've had weddings, they've had no cake. Just get on with it. But then, from our point of view, that suits the way that we work.
Yeah.
And that's I suppose that's key to it. Some people need the tradition because they need the content. They need they need those things to happen to get a good story of a wedding.
Yeah.
And an amount of pictures.
But it's through expectation. I don't think they've really sat down and thought about why they are doing these things. They just think that's the expectation. I have to do those things.
So it's like rinse and repeat again, isn't it?
Yeah.
But coming from the background we've come into, and it is personal to us, it's not. I will always say that photography, weddings and wedding photography, there are no rules.
No.
People think there are rules. Couples think there are rules. That you're having a wedding, you've got to do this, you've got to have this, you've got to have that, you've got to go here first, then there, and then you've got to have this at the end of the day.
Yeah.
There are no rules. You do what you like. The only rule is the legal ceremony.
Yeah.
That side of it, isn't it? The rest of it, it's...
Which you've already said can be done at any time.
Actually, any time. There are no rules. Wedding photography, there are no rules.
No.
There's no rules to doing weddings. There's no rules to how your photos have to look. There are no rules what order you decide to show the photos on the day. There's an expectation. And it makes more sense to start at the beginning and finish at the end, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But there are no rules. And that's kind of... people need to understand that they can do what they like. Can't they?
Yeah.
The industry... There's no regulating body in the wedding industry. There's no one person or group of people you have to report to or to be reported to, is there, if you don't do it quite right?
No.
There's no rule. So if you're getting married, do it the way you want it done. Get married where you want to get married. Let the day happen how you want it to happen. If you're feeling stressed about something, don't do it.
That's right.
If it's stressful, don't do it. You don't need it if it's stressful. You don't even need a photographer.
No.
And I'm, might be accused of shooting myself in the foot there, but you don't.
No, you don't.
As long as you get someone that can document the day in some sort of pictures, because you will regret not
if
having any pictures. Yeah, well, the one if it's a life event, isn't it, a wedding?
Yeah.
So you want it documented.
I think so.
You want some form of
even
documentation.
at our wedding, it wasn't. We didn't have a photographer, but we had people taking
Well, that's
photographs.
what I'm saying. Yeah,
and it was. And I still look at them now.
We've got pictures in the drawer, haven't we?
Yeah.
That we ain't looking at because we're young and
we're not
slim
and young,
fit.
and yeah. It was 26 years ago, so yeah.
But yeah, just have somebody. I mean, people with phones these days, they take great pictures.
Yeah.
Uncle Bob with his camera, bring him along if he's got a good camera. Someone with just get something. There's no rule, is there?
There's not.
There's no
but
rule.
There are most people who've not had photographers will say they wish they had.
Yeah,
that is one thing they regret if they've gone without a wedding photographer, a professional wedding photographer. Then they have missed it. Even if they've got photos, they still say.
And it's quite interesting on that point you've made there, because what did we do literally last week?
Yeah, that's what made me say.
On the back of, they had a wedding.
Yeah, they didn't have a
but they had someone that had a nice camera and seemed they would have been up to the job.
Yeah,
and they made a decision that they didn't need a photographer, but they would have some nice photos.
Yeah,
which is what I'm saying. You don't need a photographer, just someone that can get. Unfortunately, this couple, it didn't quite work out how they'd expected, did they?
No.
And they had a bit of a rotten day as well by the sounds on their wedding day.
Yeah,
it was pouring with rain. All those factors would have led to the reason why they didn't have good photos, because it was by all accounts, a very wet day. And
you need a certain standard of photography to be able to deal with that sort of
someone with a certain skill set.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. That's right, to deal with an ever-changing environment.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to go into all their wedding that they described us, but they had one off two sort of disasters, didn't they? So to treat themselves, they booked us last year. Was their first anniversary, so we were due to do an anniversary shoot with them
last year.
But obviously things didn't happen, so they've postponed it to this year. So we met up with them, didn't we? And we had a good day.
It was quite a day.
It's about a good 6-hour day photography session in two sort of separate locations.
Well, it was a bit of a journey to the locations anyway, wasn't it?
Well, they had quite a journey to come. They came to us, didn't they, just to get dressed, and it was great because she wore the wedding dress again. She had exactly the same hairstyle, which was multicoloured. He wore the same suit, tie clip. You know, it was as if it was their wedding day. And she even went back to the same flower shop to buy her bouquet. Was it not the same shop?
No, I'm shaking my head because she didn't have flowers because she forgot them.
That was part of the disaster, wasn't it?
Actually, it was the same flower shop. You're right. No, you're right. It was the same flower shop, but she forgot to pick them up. Yeah. So on a wedding day, she didn't have any flowers.
Because that was one of the disasters, wasn't it? But she had what did she have? It was a sheep, wasn't it?
A little woolly sheep.
Was it the venue would give us just to have something to hold? Yeah. I can't remember the story, but she went back to the same florist to get the identical bouquet. Yeah. And they had the sheep as well that they had from the previous wedding, which was a little mascot, wasn't it? Yeah. And we just went out for some photo fun, didn't we, basically? Yeah. And we treated it as if it was their wedding day. Yeah. And that was us, if you like, over-delivering in a way, because she's already just recently said to us it was just the best thing she could have had. It was like it was her wedding day again. And people were waving and tooting to her, weren't they? And they were just treating it as if they had just got married. And it was... Why not? Absolutely. Yeah. And it was a better day, wasn't it? It was a great day for photos. I don't know why more couples don't do that. The bride get a dress on again, get a suit on again. I think it's a great idea. And just go and have a nice few hours. Yeah. Back to maybe the venue or someone completely different. Yeah, just reminisce a bit. Reminisce a bit. Yeah. Another it's just treat yourself. Treat yourself to a photo anniversary shoot. Yeah. Put your suit on again, your dress on again. I loved it. Yeah, it was really good. So it was fair play to them, and it was something new to us, and it was a new concept, wasn't it? And as we've just said, what a great idea. You don't need a photographer on the day. Get someone to take nice photos, and then even if it's when you've just got married, maybe a week later, put the stuff on again. Have a little photo shoot with a local photographer. Cheaper all day photography. We're shooting ourselves in the foot here. But this is the whole point. There are no rules. That's not what I'm trying to say. Yeah. But there will always be those that want their photographer. Of course. Yeah. And I mean, I'm quite happy if people don't, and we get couples say, "Can we have a little photo shoot with you as part of our wedding?" Yeah. Just a photo shoot. An hour or so. We walked a few miles, didn't we? Though the other week. We did. 2 different venues. It was very rural, wasn't it? Yeah. We was in sheep fields and down steep banks and up the other side. But I thought it was a great concept, and it was something new. And I just again feel that I'm sure other photographers have done very similar things, but it's the first time we've done it. Yeah. It's the first time it's come to my attention of that as being a possibility to do things. So as we were saying before that we got busy. I don't want to talk about us. We've done this, but just to sort of list the things that can Photographers that are just in a situation where thinking that it's all come to an end. Well, it doesn't come to an end, does it? If you're still presenting yourself as being a working photographer.
Yeah.
Social media, we all have to get. I don't like social media, but we all have to get involved in it to keep a presence, don't we?
Yeah.
And on the back of that, we've had a little bit of work come our way, haven't we? We've done a new thing for us, video.
Yeah.
We've done video for a local builder who'd been on a project for the last 11 months that come to completion, and he just wanted it documented, not just in photos, but also in video. We spoke previously about the changes we've had to make locally at home. Just try to keep work coming in for us after the weddings hadn't happened. So our little studio has started to pick up, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So we've had a few cake smash sessions, haven't we?
Yeah.
And a couple of little ones sessions, just general photo sessions.
Yeah, little portrait sessions with little ones.
Yeah. What else? Oh, we did that other couple, one of our couples who have had to cancel their wedding or rearrange it twice. They went ahead and just had a very private ceremony, didn't they?
Yeah.
At the registry office, at the town hall, literally down to the bare bones, the witnesses and a few people to look, to watch. They didn't want it photographed, but they wanted us to meet them where they were going for their wedding day meal at a nice venue to do some newlywed shots.
Yeah.
Again, something different, but it worked really well, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Because they hadn't had their pre-wedding shoot. They booked us for a day, haven't they? And our pre-wedding shoot comes with that, and we hadn't had a chance to meet them for that. I thought that was a really good idea, just so to show how versatile couples can be. And
thinking outside the box.
outside the box, that's exactly what you need to do. Think outside the box when you're planning your wedding.
Yeah.
So we met, and it's nice because we were able to meet up with them, weren't we?
Yeah.
You know, you're in contact with people via email for many months, aren't you? But then to meet up with people in the flesh was just really good. That was a scorching hot day, wasn't it?
It was really hot.
Beautiful venue, and they turned up and
Lovely
they were,
location.
Yeah, oh
It was
God, yeah.
A wine venue.
It's quite a new venue, isn't
What do
it?
you call them?
Vineyard.
A vineyard.
Vineyard.
A vineyard.
Yeah,
A vineyard.
A vineyard. It
It's a
does
vineyard
vines.
in the country.
I wasn't disappointed. I had this image in my head when they said they were having this meal and we would meet them at this new vineyard where they make
Vineyard.
vineyard. Do you know why I say vineyard? 'Cause I'm
Vineyard.
battling at the moment in our garden with that bloody
Vineweed.
vineweed. It's all I keep seeing in my head. Vine. Oh, it's another vine. Bloody vines.
And that's
Vineweed.
vineweed, not vineweed.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Well, actually, it's bindweed.
Is it?
Yes.
It's
Bindweed.
vineweed.
No, it's not vineweed. It's bindweed.
I'm so green-fingered, me not. Oh my God, what an arp.
That's why we've got so much of it.
So that's when I talk to my neighbours about my vineweed problem, they look at me like to say, oh,
Is he on?
what an idiot. I hate gardening. But the vineyard what's the word? It was in its infancy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They weren't mature.
They're only about 2 foot tall, weren't they, the vines?
But I had visions of them being like 6 foot high and we'd walk up and down.
Yeah, me
and the
too.
vine. The other thing was it was on such a steep decline to get to the vines that there was no way we could walk down there with the newlyweds, was there?
No,
and walk
she
all
has
the way
very
back
high
up.
heels
So,
on.
but they looked stunning when they arrived, didn't they? They both
Yeah.
were absolutely stunning. We got some nice photos of them as newlyweds. We were there half hour or so,
Yeah.
and then they went off for their meal and
And the Queen was there?
yeah. I tell you what, come to our Facebook page, right? Darren Musgrove Photography on Facebook. Have a look down the feed. The Queen was at this wedding.
She was?
She was at this wedding. It was amazing.
She was quite short, didn't she?
She was shorter than the groom,
Yeah.
but no, that was a turn up, wasn't it? That one.
Yeah.
But as you said before, thinking outside the box. How wonderful is that, eh? And just doing things a little bit differently.
It's great for us as well because it changes things up, doesn't it?
It makes you think differently.
Your expectations aren't
But that's
met,
right.
so
And it also puts you in a position
you're
where
on your toes.
Well, it does, exactly. Yeah, it's something new.
Yeah.
You don't sit on your haunches. You can't in this game, can you?
No.
You've got to be prepared to diversify and do things differently and not be put off if somebody wants something done a bit different.
Yeah.
You can't. And it's made us also have ideas for other couples that are struggling.
Yeah.
You know, as we said before, we're only photographers. We're not wedding planners.
No.
Come to that after.
Oh, yeah.
We're not wedding planners in any shape or form, but any photographer will tell you their couples tend to lean on you a little bit because you have a bit more experience inside the wedding than perhaps other suppliers might have.
Yeah.
And we spoke before of hairdressers and makeup artists. They do their thing, they're gone before anything
Well, they
happens.
don't see the rest of the day, do they?
Caterers turn up, do
They
their
know
bit
how their
later
side
on.
works,
Yeah, but as a photographer, you
see it all.
You're in the arena from beginning to end, aren't
Yeah.
you? And you do learn things yourself as you go along. You do see things that's happened. And particularly as a photographer, when you're editing your photos, you do see little things that you think, that wasn't done quite right.
Yeah.
Because the photo should be this, but it's this instead. The big one is bridesmaids not being in photos they should be in.
Oh, I know. This is something that really bugs us, isn't it?
And I can understand venue staff, wedding planners, saying that or feeling that they are the best friend with the bride, so therefore on the day they should be involved, carrying the bouquet, holding the dress and all that. I can understand that, and I can understand a bride also thinking, well, yeah, we've got a good relationship, she's happy for her to be here. But when you're looking at the photos in years to come and your bridesmaid isn't where a bridesmaid traditionally should be, and I know I said tradition there and we've gone against tradition in our previous part of this podcast, but on those type of photos...
Well, if you're having a bridesmaid, you're following tradition anyway, so they have a role to do.
So little things like that, you know what I mean? So where are we going with this? Couples tend to not lean on us, but and any photographer will say the same, they'll just ask them for bits of advice. What I do here? What should happen here? What could I do with this? Have you got any ideas about it? And you tend to have something. So with all these new ways of thinking, you've got a bit more to pass on to your clients, haven't you?
Yeah.
We were approached recently by a local venue, and I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to get contentious about it, but if anybody from that sort of scene or from that day is listening to the podcast, which they probably will do, without saying names you'll probably understand who it is, and what happened. All right, I'm not going to slay anything or anyone because it's not about personnel, it's just about incident, isn't it?
Yeah.
So do you want to start from the beginning?
Well, no, she contacted you, but did she contact you back?
Yeah, she did.
No,
but it was after you.
That's right. It was on the back of something that I wrote on
a thread.
On a thread.
Yeah.
It's a new venue,
a Facebook thread,
a new venue local to our town, and they were just looking for. Well, they weren't actually looking for anything, were they? I can't. Can you remember what?
Basically, traditionally it's a bed and breakfast venue, okay, but it's in such a lovely location that she kind of. I think you were just being nice about it,
didn't I? That's all.
Yeah, obviously you commented it as our photography business page.
Wasn't it a celebrant that also?
Yes, that's it. That rings
that
a bell.
it's a celebrant that we'd had.
That rings a bell. The girl from
dealings
down
with.
the road.
That's right. Yeah. It sort of came about. Anyway, cut a long story short, the owner of the venue phoned you up, didn't she?
Yeah, out the blue, just with an idea in her head. She's going to be using the venue that she's got as a small, intimate wedding ceremony.
Yeah.
And it is ideally located, it's beautiful, and it would work very well for a smaller... Because it can't cater for many people. I think about 30 guests, all-day guests maximum.
Yeah, which is a nice amount of people.
Yeah, of course it is. So she basically just wanted some nice photos to promote her venture on her website.
Yeah.
Or any other platform she was going to go ahead with. But you need visuals, don't you?
Yeah.
Visuals are key to all of these things.
Yeah.
Just wanted a few nice photos. Was going to set up a bit of a scene to just use as material that would encourage people to consider her place as a wedding venue.
Yeah.
Dress it up without going over the top. And that was kind of the initial discussion on the phone and via messaging. And we agreed, it's something we would be willing to do. Yeah,
not because we don't usually like that sort of thing, do we?
Style shoot. Let's not beat around, but style shoots is not our cup of tea at all.
No,
it's too fake. It's too much of a. It's a magazine thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you want to put something like that in together, it's got to be for publication, isn't it?
Rather, you've got to pay the photographer for it.
Well, that's another sort of point to get into in a minute, isn't it? But as I say, she did contact us. We agreed because I kind of built the picture in her head, what we would do and what would look nice and shit. That was kind of the thing she was looking for.
Yeah.
But between speaking to her, or after speaking to her, I think she got in contact with a local wedding planner. I don't know what.
I just wonder whether the local wedding planner would have got hold of her.
Well, possibly. But the point is,
the post herself.
They came on board, didn't they? And it changed quite dramatically from a small
location shoot, basically, which is what we agreed to do.
Absolutely. It was all to do with the aesthetics outside and a room that would be used as the eating room, if you like. Because that's all it's got for facilities, isn't it?
Because the ceremony would have been outside.
Yeah, but as I say, the wedding coordinator planner, I don't know what her official title is, got on board, and then within an instant, it changed to a full-on styled shoot. So we had to sort of withdraw our services, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it led to us revisiting. We've done a podcast before, haven't we, on styled shoots? I mean, it's worth going back and having a listen to that if you haven't heard that. What is it? What really is the purpose of them, and who gets the most benefit out of them? I'm not going to go into this particular styled shoot because I'm not really interested in them. They don't do anything. They don't do anything for a photographer except give them a lot of work.
Yeah.
And our question is, why do photographers do these? And what do they get out of them?
Yeah.
They are key.
Absolutely.
To anything visual, they are key.
Yeah.
If you're having a styled shoot and you're a photographer, one person out of that whole setup should be paid.
And it's a photographer.
Because you are key.
Yeah.
If these businesses aren't getting together for a styled shoot, chipping into a pot to pay the photographer something for their time and for the pictures, there's something very wrong. And if you are a photographer and you are willingly going on these styled shoots for nothing other than a pat on the back and to have a jolly up and be part of the circle, you need to have a look at yourself, because the industry you're trying to survive in is you're shafting it.
Yeah,
You're absolutely shafting your fellow photographers. You really are.
Can you imagine top photographers doing style shoots that are going to appear in a magazine and say, "Oh yeah, I'll do it as a favour. Just tag me."
Yeah, Rankin does a lovely shoot and says, just tag me on Facebook.
Tag me, it'll.
See, shoots like that done for top brands, they're put together, and there's money changes hands, and the photographer, like you say, gets a decent, handsome payment for his skills in bringing, his lights and his cameras and his editing skills to make it, just to record it in pictures that can be put out to encourage others to part with their money.
Yeah.
So if you take a picture of a cake, the cake maker, they don't even have to make a cake these days. They just ice some polystyrene shapes, don't they?
Yeah.
And then aesthetically it looks like a cake, and you get free photos.
Yeah.
And then those photos you can then promote your business.
And that's an expectation of that supplier.
Exactly. Do you remember that one a year or so ago where there was a big hoo-ha when a style shoot had been done?
Yeah.
That the photographer had obviously decided, well, hang on a minute, I'm not giving you these photos.
That's right.
They were, whoever they were well within their rights.
Yeah.
To charge.
Yeah.
Charge something. So styled shoots, they've been prolific the last year or so, haven't they? Because there's no weddings, and as I say, people have been so impatient and so frustrated. Styled shoots have happened everywhere 3 or 4 times a week.
Just flooded. The internet's flooded with them.
Absolutely. So they're not once in a while things. They're everywhere all the time, and it pains me. I know a lot of them. The same photographer will do a lot of these styled shoots because it's the same group of people that just bounce to different venues.
Yeah.
It's like rinse and repeat.
And
do
it's
the same thing again.
the same staging, and it's just boring.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, it's just boring.
Yeah. You are just seeing pictures of products.
Yeah.
Because the one we were going to do locally, I think the girl pulled in a stationer.
Yeah.
And I thought, how can you actually incorporate a picture of a stationery company at a venue, other than seeing a few envelopes or pads or whatever on a table?
At a distance.
The point I'm trying to make is, if you're the photographer doing this styled shoot, you have to separately photograph the stationer's work. Their products.
What they want to sell.
It does nothing for you as a photographer. You have to then take that home, edit the work, and then give your work to that stationer, who will then promote her business, and that will mean that she will make more money.
Oh, but she'll tag you.
But what does a tag? A tag doesn't pay a bill, does it?
No, it doesn't.
You can't put a tag on your website, can you?
No.
Oh, look, I was tagged by this.
But that stationer
supplier
will sell her product on the back of that photo.
Exactly.
It's a product. It's a product.
I just think it's one thing I feel that it's not the industry, it's the styled shoot industry, if you like, needs to have a look at and fairly decide, well, actually, the photographer needs paying.
It's key.
They are key to it.
It's nothing without the photographer.
If you get a poor photographer,
without the photographer,
I won't say poor, that's not fair. An inexperienced photographer who wants to make a move forward, and they give you photos that you then think aren't good enough to represent what you have as the product. What does that say?
Yeah, exactly.
It says that you should have got someone bigger, better, and more experienced.
Yeah.
But if you're getting somebody bigger, better, and more experienced in any industry,
you pay for it.
You pay a premium. So just again, I'll reiterate: ask yourself, if you're a photographer, why are you doing work for free when you've got a business to run?
Exactly.
You've got a business. You've got a business to run in an industry that is oversaturated as it is anyway. you know, you're vying for work with so many photographers these days.
Do they think they're putting themselves forward when they're doing this?
Do you know what?
They're promoting themselves.
I'll say what I honestly think, and it might upset a few people, and I don't really care.
No, I don't care either.
It's a social circle.
Yeah.
It's a social friendship circle where they all meet up at a venue, have a jolly up, smile their heads off, tag each other. Photographer goes home.
Starts his work.
I'm not sexist. Usually a female photographer, because it's a female
environment.
What's the word? It's a female biased environment.
Yeah.
And it is, you know, not solely. Don't get me wrong there. I know there are male photographers, and I've seen their stuff online that they've shared that they were at a styled shoot, and I do say, you moron, you've given up all that time, effort, you've gone home, all that time you're giving up of your own to do something for free for others, not for yourself, for others. And it's an industry that it's got to be respected, and it does contribute again to the disrespect in the industry. You're expected, disrespectfully, to do things for nothing.
Yeah.
And it's wrong. It's really wrong.
Absolutely.
If you want a styled shoot, you want to have a free photographer, put a post out to a local college.
Yeah.
Have we got a student who would like to be involved? Give them an opportunity.
And if you're a photographer that thinks it's a good idea to do style shoots, give your head a wobble, please.
Have a wobble.
Give your head a wobble.
Give your head a wobble.
Because I don't know what you think you're getting out of it.
I'm not against style shoots. They are not my thing. All right.
Well, I'm against them because I don't know what. I can understand a style shoot, as I said, for a magazine where they're promoting a certain style of decor that's come in vogue.
Yeah.
But these style shoots they're just all the same.
That's true. That because they just become Instagram posts.
Yeah.
Or Facebook material.
But stuff you've seen before.
Exactly. It's not, as you say. I mean, we were involved with a wedding organisation up until a couple of years ago, and we were featured in one of our weddings was featured in the magazine.
Was, yeah.
But in amongst that were styled shoot photos, but that's because that had been done for publication. And I kind of, like you say, get that.
Yes.
It's material, it's content for publication. Which is fine to show off, as you say, a new style.
And I'd hope the photographer for that would have got paid.
I don't think they were.
Well,
no, I don't think
they should have been.
I don't think so. But I don't know that. I don't know that for sure. But again, if it was me, part of my conditions would be a payment if it's going in print. Simple as that.
I suppose at least if it's going in a magazine, then your name goes in print. So maybe that is some proper sort of compensation if there's no money changing hands.
As I say, tagging, just the one that was done locally that we started to talk about. This styled shoot, I will question whether the content that was created will reflect the vision that she had for that venue.
Yeah.
It's a small venue. And in her words, it was directed at a certain clientele.
Yeah. A discerning clientele.
A certain clientele. But if you've got a styled mock-up wedding shoot with models, clothing, all this, I think she had a male and a female model couple plus a single female. What I'm saying is, it goes from a bona fide idea, some pictures to reflect what I'm trying to offer. Somebody comes on board and decides, actually, you don't want that, you want this. So it's a new person entering the industry who's already been told how the industry works.
Yeah.
And as we previously said, there are no rules in this industry.
No.
You do things differently, and you need to start doing things that you feel should be done your way.
Yeah. You have to be empowered.
Be empowered. You're getting married, do it your way. That's how I'm going to conclude today's episode. Season 1. Finished. No, it's not season 1. Season 2.
Season 2.
Episode 1. Finished.
Yeah.
All right, finish on a grumble.
What's new?
The thing is, right, I think a lot of photographers are too scared to speak their minds.
And too scared to say no,
in
apparently.
The industry, and too scared to say no. We're nice people. I'm a nice guy.
I'm not scared to say no.
But if somebody wants me to do something with photography, I've got a price for it.
And you've got your own principles surrounding that, haven't you?
Of course I have,
exactly.
To why. Yeah, we both have.
Yeah.
But I've got a price for everything. Everything I do. I'm not stupid.
It's because you take your industry seriously.
Seriously, exactly. And if I went to a photographer and said, look, I could do with a bit of a shoot of myself for my own purposes, I will be asking, what's your rate for an hour?
Of course you would.
Simple.
Yeah.
If they said £150 for an hour shoot, and probably... I'd pay them if I felt they were going to deliver what I wanted.
Yes.
I would pay them what they wanted to do the work.
Absolutely.
So I don't understand why people come to photographers and want, it's only a photo.
Yeah.
I'll tag you. We'll tag you. How many Instagram posts do you see with about 25 listed contributors to a shoot? Really? And how? Well, I don't know. I can't see that getting you.
The thing is that photo's out there, and they will use that photo time and time again. And eventually the tag will drop. It will just be their photo then of their stuff,
and it'll end up somewhere where you'll come across it one day and you'll have the ump because it's not where you want it to be.
That's right.
Without getting paid.
There's no deal.
You should be paid.
I'm just thinking about, do we go down that road or are we going to finish it here?
Oh, better finish it here. Been waffling on along.
We haven't waffled on
But
along.
drop a line just for next time.
No, it was about a couple using photographs in a business they've gone into of yours.
Oh right, yeah. That's another story.
Yeah,
that's a bit.
It is a little bit.
That's a bit hard to take, that one.
It is.
I feel a little bit let down.
Yeah, we do.
It's hard. That's hard, but that might be worth talking about next time.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that's a good point.
Your photos are, if you're a photographer, photos are your property.
Yeah, let's just inform. If you're a photographer listening to this, you will agree with this. Well, you should agree with this. If you're a couple who're going to get married, you need to understand this. When the photographer delivers your photos, they are your photos for private reference, for private use. You can print them, you can pass the link to the gallery to anybody else to have a look, but you'll probably in your contract or your terms and conditions with that photographer, there'll be a clause that will say, these are photos of your private use only.
Yeah.
Not to be used for any commercial activity without any prior consent. Our photos that we give all our clients are our photos still. We hold them on record. We hold them in stock, if you like, and they are copyright. They're our copyright.
Yeah.
None of our couples can use a wedding photo for any other reason than printing it out and hanging on their wall.
Without prior consent.
If they want to use it for any publication, if they want to pass the photo on to any supplier, if they want to pass any of our photos on to any other business, they have to get our consent. They don't. It's a habit, isn't it? They don't.
Yeah.
Couples presume they're my photos. Oh, suppliers contact. Yes, you have access to the album.
And suppliers know they shouldn't.
And the suppliers then download them all, do they? And how many suppliers on a wedding day have said, oh, don't worry, I look forward to seeing the professional photos.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can see them, but you won't be having them.
You cannot touch.
You have to come to me. I have a commercial rate for my photography.
Yeah.
And commercial rates, quite expensive. It's commercial.
You're using it for advertising.
And we've just done
That's Nike.
We've just done a job, haven't we? Recently, we won't go into it because that's part of our terms and conditions of the job. It's a 4-figure job because it's commercial.
Yeah,
you have to respect it.
And anybody who's in the business, in big business, knows that there's a price to pay for commercial work.
It's a difficult one because couples, I suppose, they need to be educated along those lines, and then the excitement of getting their wedding photos, and with the good relationships that they've had with all their suppliers, there is that tendency to say, oh yes, great picture of the hairdresser, it's a great picture of the makeup artist, and they want to. But when you're, as a photographer, your photograph pops up on their website. Instagram, or their website. That's the worst one.
Instagram, you can sort of swallow it because it's here and there. It's here today, gone tomorrow, but it's on their website. Yeah. That's when it's a red flag.
Yeah, exactly. And that's when it's wrong. And I tend to go down the lines of asking it to get removed and making efforts to get it removed legally.
Or get it paid for.
Or, well, that's the other thing I was going to say, or send them an invoice for the pictures. That would scare them.
Yeah.
So that was quite a good session. I'd say we did cover a lot of material. I want this podcast still to appeal to the new starter in the wedding industry, because there's a lot of people, I won't say a lot of people, but I've known people and I've seen people and I've read articles and I've read posts of photographers that are jacking it in. And they are jacking it in because it's been a difficult year. But you have to read between the lines with some of these people. It's not their day job.
Yeah.
They have a job. It's been a shit year and they don't want the hassle anymore. And they can sell their kit, make more money and move on. And if you're a new starter, you need to just keep doing what you want to be doing, because you will still, even in this current climate, there will still be a need for your services.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you are, what level you shoot at, you just need to do things the way you want to do things. You might not be as confident as you will be in a year's time. You will get better, you will make mistakes. Those mistakes are learning curves, learning experiences to make you a better person and a better photographer. Within your first, say, 10 weddings, you will be technically better. Your camera skills will be better. You will technically know your equipment better. I'm talking about setting up off-camera flash, dance floor flash, all those sort of things. Your first couple of weddings, you may muck it up completely. Your third, fourth wedding, you'll get better. By your 8th, 9th, 10th wedding, you will have nailed it. So that's what I'm saying. You have to keep moving forward with what you do.
And with your people skills.
Your people skills.
Don't forget your people skills.
But your people skills, I say, the more you do, it's the same with anything. The more you do it, the better you get.
Yeah.
You might be a shy, reserved individual, and you might market yourself as a shy individual, and you will just only do documentary photos because you like to hide behind the scene. But as you progress in it, you want more of it. You want to get insight, and you do become more not noticeable in a bad way, but you will be happy to put your camera closer to somebody than you would as you first start. So if you're a new starter, keep at it. There is a clientele for you everywhere. Your prices, you'll be cheap to start with because you will want a clientele and you will want the experience. Don't do it for free.
Never do it for free.
Unless it's a family member, but even then, don't do it for free. Ask them for a contribution. You're right, you're yawning. You're like you've glazed over.
I'm going to cough.
Go on. So keep listening if you're a newbie. Ask us some questions. We have a website, darrenmusgrove.com. Go to the website. You can have a look at some of our work. You can contact us. We're not the best in the world, but we do our things our way, and we've kind of found our ideal client, and it works. And that's what you will get eventually. You will find your ideal client. You will know the people you want to work with. You will know the type of weddings you want to do. You will know the side of the industry that you less favour.
Yeah.
And your business evolves, and that's exactly what will happen. Our Facebook page is simply Darren Musgrove Photography, Darren Musgrove Photo on Instagram. Have a look, follow us, message us. We do have a Twitter page, but I don't really use Twitter because it's more of a page.
I forgot about Twitter.
It's more of a page for people to whinge at and just.
We don't whinge.
Well, it's like get involved in like dialogue. It's more dialogue based than it is.
I've never ever gone on Twitter.
But we're on there, and I do post things, and that's D Musgrove Photo. I'm Darren.
I'm Cara.
This is the Wedding Photographer Journey podcast. We've got to get ready because we've got a couple shoot this afternoon.
I need to put some makeup on.
Yeah, exactly. So thanks for listening. Any questions, any comments, let us know. We don't know everything. We're not perfect. This is our podcast.
We've got an opinion.
And these are our opinions. Do not be afraid to put your opinion out there.
No.
It's not wrong. There is no wrong and there is no right in the wedding industry. Yeah. There are just opinions. And what are opinions like?
Like bumholes.
Everyone's got one.
Bye.
Ta-da.